Hello students, today we'll be discussing about what is quasi contract. We all know contract is a combination of two different terms. One, the agreement, the other is called enforceable by law. When an agreement is enforceable by law, then it becomes contract. So you all know, to make an agreement into a contract, you need an offer. You need an acceptance, you need capacity to enter into contract, you need free consent, you need consideration, and so on and so forth. But when all these are absent, still it can become a contract, and those contracts are called quasi contracts. Now, how does the quasi contracts get its birth? Quasi contracts are those contracts even if it lacks of whatever that we discussed about a minute before. If the judge feels that there should be a contract between two people, and if he issues a decree, if he issues an order, if he issues a judgment, then the contract is born at that minute before the judge between two parties. Let me give you an example. I am the owner of an apartment and you take my apartment on rent, and the monthly rental charges is about 15,000 rupees, and you are genuinely, regularly paying it for 9 months. 10th month, I am not in India. You are getting a notice from Chennai Corporation in the name of me, Gokulraj, that Mr. Gokulraj, your property taxes are due and you are expected to pay this money before this date. And you see that and you try to communicate to me, but I am not in India, and whereby I am not able to connect with you, or rather you are not able to inform that matter. In this case, there is no offer from you. There is no acceptance from me, but still you have taken the initiative to go to the Chennai Corporation and pay the money on my behalf and got the challan as well. Now, after me coming back to India, you are coming and telling me, hey Mr. Gokulraj, we have paid the property tax of your apartment on your behalf when you are not there in India. I said, like, who asked you to pay? The tenant said, sir, it was our duty to pay because we got a notice with a due date. Before the due date, if we were not able to pay, the apartment would go on auction. That's what the notice read. But sir, you are saying very coolly that why did you pay? Sir, see, I have paid and it is your duty to repay to me. I said, I'm not going to pay you. I kept on ignoring you. You just went to the court. The judge is asking, what happened? My lord, the amount of property tax for Mr. Gokulraj for his apartment to be paid by Mr. Gokulraj was not paid by Gokulraj, but it was paid by us. But now we are asking for the reimbursement, but Gokulraj is not ready to pay. We need justice, my lord. Now the court took this case and analyzed it and told that even though there is no offer from the tenant, even though there is no acceptance from the owner of the apartment, still there is a contract between two parties on my judgment. On my judgment, here I refer to the judge judgment or judge order or judge decree, where the moment he writes the order and issue it, the contract is said to be born. Now, how the judge is governed to issue this particular order? He also has a principle that he needs to follow, and in your answer paper, this principle must be written, and wherever the quasi contracts are asked in the examination, you must ensure that this principle is well quoted and whereby your marks are secured. Now, what is this quote all about? The quote is, no one can get enriched at the cost of another person. I repeat, no one can get enriched at the cost of another person. In our example, I am getting enriched. What is enrichment here? I am protecting my apartment without paying the property tax actually out of my pocket. So I am getting enriched, but at whose expense? At the expense of the tenant. So this is a valid case which can go to the court and the judge can issue an order and the contract is said to be born at that minute, and that type of contracts are called as quasi contracts. So my dear friends, the 4 different points that you must understand while you are remembering and recollecting what is a quasi contract in your answer paper. Point number 1, there is no necessity for an offer, there is no necessity for an acceptance, there is no necessity for essential elements of a valid contract to be present. Point number 1. And point number 2, the judge should issue an order, should issue a decree on the basis of no one can get enriched at the cost of another person. Point number 3, one person must have got enriched. Point number 4, one person must have spent some amount of money or has done some kind of performance in the contract, and whereby if all these 4 points are present, and that type of contract is called as quasi contract. In another video, we will discuss in elaborate about the various other types of quasi contract. Thank you very much. This is Gokulraj, your Law Guru from Q Academy.